Red Feather presents From the Archives. Chapter 26. Ad Astra.
Oh, hey, Green. Heading out early?
Yeah, I've just got some errands to run. You know how it is.
For sure. Stretch your legs. Feels like I haven't seen you leave the office in weeks.
Hey, I've been busy. There's been a lot of work to do.
Oh, don't forget your glasses. You, left them on your desk. Here you go.
Right. I do need those. Thanks. Well, here we are. Astra Library. I've already gotten frowned at once for talking in here, so I'm trying to keep my voice down. I've been getting really frustrated lately about how many mysteries there are around me that I can't do anything about. I don't know where Etho is now, or really even what happened to him still. I know there's something Excizuma's not telling me. I don't have any other useful leads on Joe Hills. I haven't been able to find anything else on Joel, or what's happening with Pearl. So I'm here instead. Maybe I won't find anything. Maybe it's just a library. But I just want to understand something. Anything. Is that really so much to ask? I feel like if I keep on only finding more questions and no answers, I'm going to crawl out of my skin. This building is only a few years old, though it honestly already looks much older, mostly due to the classical style. It was finished in 2017 to expand the campus library of Greenwich University, and it really is gorgeous. It feels like it could have been here forever. The exterior is made of stone that's not black exactly, I think, but so dark it almost looks like it. Or a very deep blue, which, for those of you who didn't finish most of an architectural degree, is fairly unusual for classical styles. White is far more common. There's something about it. I almost felt unsteady walking up the front steps. I couldn't say why, but it almost felt like I was going to fall right through the surface of the stone. Like walking on a frozen lake, and knowing if you step wrong you could put your foot right through and just sink down into deep, cold, endlessly dark water. Quite dark inside, which does add a certain atmosphere. There's reading lamps placed around by study areas and tables, of course. It is a library. But there's almost no proper overhead lighting. If there is, I can't tell where it's coming from. It makes it hard to gauge how big the space is in any dimension. The shelves built into the walls are very tall and stuffed with books. I wonder, if I read all of them, every single one, would I find the answers I'm looking for? The ceilings are very high, especially here in the rotunda, but so shrouded in shadow it's hard to tell quite how high. And they sparkle? I think that's the only way I can describe it. The walls behind the shelves arching up into the ceilings. They're pitch black, and overhead they're dotted with these intermittent dots of light. Faint enough that you could almost miss them if you weren't looking. I can't tell if they are lights or some other effect of the building material. If I could just get a better look. It's almost like looking right up at the night sky. or down. My arms hurt. Why do my arms... Oh, right. I'm sitting on the front steps of the library. I don't know how I got here. I don't remember... No. I remember falling. I remember looking up at the sky, the ceiling. I remember looking up at the ceiling until my eyes started to hurt from not blinking. I didn't want to look away from it. It was like a puzzle. I knew there had to be something about it that would make it make sense if I just looked at it long enough, looked at it from the right angle, that would bring the optical illusion back into stone and paint and light and shadow. I was looking up, and then I was looking down. There wasn't a transition. It just felt like I realized, all of a sudden, that I was hanging over something that wouldn't catch me if I fell. And then I was falling. Into that night sky, through it, those little points of light whipping by around me. They were the only thing I could see against the endless black and blue. I couldn't tell how close or far they were. It was impossible when I was falling so fast. There was wind, or something like it. I could feel it in my feathers. It made my skin hurt, like more of them were growing. I don't think they did. It wasn't real, but it almost felt less like falling and more like flying. Almost. And it was like falling into the sky, but it was also like falling into the ocean. Like being swallowed by something huge and so blue it was almost black. Those distant lights retreating above me. I wanted to catch myself. I wanted to swim. I wanted to drag myself up with wings I didn't have, make it back to where things were real and made sense. I couldn't, though. I would try and reach out to something, and I would feel like I could almost catch something in my hand, under my feathers, some water or ink that I could swim up through and eventually reach the surface, but it would always slip out through my fingers again before I could. I just kept falling, or drifting, or flying, or sinking. It felt like I would be falling forever, alone in the dark. And I thought of Pearl. I thought about her dreams. I wondered if they'd been like this. The way she described them was different, nicer, but... Back when we were still in school, there was this car park just off campus where you could get a pretty good view of the sky. Or as good as you could ever get in the centre of London. But it was the tallest building around, and nobody ever parked at the very top. One night she packed some blankets and told me to bring snacks and meet her up there. It was clearer than usual, not a cloud in the sky, and the moon was bright. She had me lie down next to her and pointed out the constellations one by one. Cygnus, Gemini, Ursa Major. A lot of them weren't very clear. Not all the stars were visible, but she traced the outlines like she knew the shapes by heart, even without needing to see them. We sat there for hours, talking until she dozed off, staring up at the sky. I know that's how it went. That's how I should remember it. But I don't. I was sitting on a blanket next to Pearl, and she turned and looked at me, and her eyes were dark and full of stars. She said, "Grian, what are you doing here?" She didn't sound angry or upset. It was just the same sort of tone she'd use if she was teasing me for making a dumb mistake. I said she'd invited me, but she shook her head. "You're not supposed to be here. It's dangerous for you," she said. I said, "What about you?" She laughed and said, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm safe here. But you can't stay. There's nothing to see but sky." "I don't know how to leave," I said. She laughed again and shoved her shoulder into mine. "You never change," she said, getting into things with no clue how to get out again. "Follow me." She grabbed my hand and pulled me to my feet. Her hand was... It seemed like the first solid thing I'd felt in the darkness. It was warm. I held onto it as tight as I could. She walked me across the roof of the car park and to the stairs, and told me to take them down and not let go of the railing until I reached the ground. She gave me a hug just before I started down the steps. A little ways down, I tried looking back to see if I could see her, but all I could see at the top of the stairs was the night sky, and those faint, distant dots of light. And then, I was standing on the front steps of the library. And now I'm here, just sitting down until I get my bearings again. It's dark out. It wasn't when I went in. I think I might call Mumbo to come pick me up. I also texted Pearl just to ask if we could talk, but she hasn't replied yet. She might already be asleep. Did I bring 2 recorders? I thought I dropped the one I was using inside. Huh.
From the Archives is a fanfic series written by Johnny 16th Days and Zephaniah Grains, inspired by the Magnus Archives and by Hermitcraft and other Minecraft series. This chapter is performed by Tizzy as Grian and Chrisrin as Impulse. Editing for this episode was done by Butterscotch Bread and Maxie. Music was composed by Noctude. Thanks for listening.